Hello, guys! Welcome on loudtv.net. And I am with the most fantastic singer from Portugal and Europe. One of my favorite band with my friends from Samel also. So many great bands, and here to talk about your new album, Fernando Hermitage. Welcome.
Hi, salut. It's great to be here. Epic intro. I was like, wow. I
Yeah.
even had to put my headphones down because it was really powerful. So it's glad to be back from a distance in the show. Yeah, times are changing. Times are very different these days. I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy and sane as
Yeah.
well. Because nowadays it's longer than what we thought it will happen, and voila, here we have a new album. By the way, we are saying it with the French accent, Hermitage. I think it's a French word
Yeah.
originally. Yeah, in Portugal we say eremitério, which is like good old twisted antique Portuguese. But yeah, I think that we're ready for this. Yeah, I think it's a bit of an achievement to have an album out today. It's a bit different because normally we'll be preparing to play it live or in some concert here in Portugal or abroad. But we have to make the best out of it. Shorten the distance with the fans. Yeah.
So it's written. We have a first commentary. Thank you, and you can ask your questions directly to Fernando. And one of my friend Pascal say, "Grand Monsieur."
Grand Monsieur. Très
It's a
bien.
great guy, but
Right?
noble
It's a
guy. Of
it's
course,
a
you are
it's a monsieur. Yeah.
Monsieur. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've read the critics are the feedbacks are really good, and I read all the French press. It's the people are they do like the new album, despite it's a very special album. It's I think it's need to need to listen to it several times. To it's not a direct album.
It couldn't be. I think it would spoil all the magic of the album because Hermitage is also a place of peace and quiet, and it's not an immediate thing. It takes a few spins to get the whole experience really. But I don't know. I honestly I haven't had the time to read through the reviews. I hope they're good. I'm glad they are good. I haven't read all the French. I need some time to do that because nowadays, even though we are under a confinement, it's very overwhelming because there's a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and also you have to do more stuff to keep yourself in the radar of the fans. So that's why we made 4 videos for this album, and not just the typical one or two. So I'm glad people liked it. It's some people say it's a first love, like at first sight. Some people say it's a grower. It's definitely an album, hands down, that needs your love and attention. That's for sure. It's not this kind of album that you probably can listen in the background, I think. But I just hope for the best. I really hope people like it and that we get away with it, because again, we have changed here and there some stuff about Moonspell, but I think that's the whole magic about it, really.
Yeah. Question from Andrea. I have a question for Fernando. The reviews list a few artists who sound they picked up here and there in the album. Is there the work of other artists, not musicians, but influenced this album? And I have to say, some press critics said several times there are some Pink Floyd influences or magic from Pink Floyd.
Yeah, there's definitely a Floydian Gilmourian mood about this album for the not for the first time, but in a more authentic and let's say more underlined way. We ventured into a psychedelic and even progressive sound. We always loved it, but I didn't think we had the right mood or the right context or the right musicianship or the right opportunity, to make an album such as this. I think musically, besides our endless pursuit for a signature sound of Moonspell, that means uh, playing something that people recognize as ours, even though there's novelty into it. I think that the most direct influences, as far as bands are concerned, are Pink Floyd and Bathory, which might sound two worlds apart, but if you pick up already from the middle of the career of Bathory with albums, especially like Twilight of the Gods, I think there's also a lot of Pink Floyd influences over there. So I don't want to reduce the album into just a Floydian promenade and experience of Moonspell. There's much more into that album as well that have to obviously discover yourself, and especially now that it's great that the album is finally out, so that we start teasing people or spoiling people, because it's so hard, and we tried the album to be from the first notes, the intro notes of Greater Good, up to the last piano notes of City Quitter. Yeah, but I think so. But there's also a lot of other influences. I'm reading also through the comments, and I think it asks also about the artists, and that has to do with the artwork. I mean, we just got the album. A lot of people are getting the album, and I think a record, especially on vinyl, it's still a portable but more really complete work of art that you have. You have the painting, you have the poetry, you have the music, you have the production, you have the songwriting. So I think that's quite important. So this album is as influenced by Pink Floyd or Bathory, but it's also by painters like Caravaggio, by lives and experiences like Saint Anthony of the Desert, or the German hermit that lived in Spain, in Galicia, Manfred Glandinger. So yeah, there's a big melting pot of influences that actually go through the album. And I think an album is really like this, like multi-dimensional. So I think there's time to discover all this, not only in the album, but in everything we've been sharing as well, online and on the interviews.
Um, so before we talk about the Jago question, uh, did you write first the lyrics or the music, because it's a concept album, and so it's special mood, you know?
Yeah, we don't have a yes or no. First the music, chicken or the egg, or the serpent and the egg. But I have to say that there's it seems to be particular for us. It's quite what we do, you know. But on the other hand, it's particular or peculiar because it seems like Moonspell is one of the few bands that works like this. Normally, people just jam and then they get the lyrics and etc. So I think it's for Ricardo and Pedro, which are the songwriters of Moonspell since Irreligious. I think it's a very friendly process if I go to them and say, okay, this album is going to be about, let's say, red wine. That will be, fun.
French.
Yeah, or Portuguese.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the French is awesome, but it's in Portugal we can get it cheaper.
yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah,
what?
of course.
And so when I approach them and I want to tell them this album is about the fever of the saints, about them going to the desert, about fighting the demons, fighting the temptation, but also about the late day society where there is connectivity but not authentic connection. I think I already paint them a little bit the sketch, the draft of the album, and they really like it, and they really take it from there. And normally I do it with lyrics, not the final lyrics, but a bunch of lyrics, and also and then it's a simultaneous process. Really, I think that sometimes the guys have some music, and I say, well, I have the lyric that will really fit, and then we try, and normally it works. Also, one of the things I try to do is to change the working titles that are always horrible, because sometimes it's just like, I think that Entitlement, which is one of the special songs of Hermitage, was called Gallop, like a horse galloping, because they had, or the Greater Good. I think the Greater Good was called Gallop, like because it had these. So yeah, I think it doesn't have a method, but it all starts with us talking about what the album is going to be about.
Okay. So let's go back here to the so many messages. It's great.
Good.
Very honest effort from Moonspell. The question from Diego. Yeah, what's your personal favorite song of the album?
That kind of changes. I think the song that I will keep from this album, it happens. For instance, the song I kept from Extinct, for instance, was actually two songs. The first and the last, Breathe Until We Are No More, and The Future is Dark. I don't say that what's in the middle is not good or great or meaningful. So I think that right now I'm really into the Hermit Saints. It's a song that people just some people were getting probably the wrong idea about the album, that it was an album that was full atmospheric and slow. And Hermit Saints is just like this great boost of energy, and it's really feverish, because when I see the Desert Fathers going, I see them with a fever, not a COVID fever, but a fever of fervor and faith and religious fever, as a self-discovery fever. But I think that the songs that are probably going to last more in my chosen songs are, again, the first song, The Greater Good, and Without Rule, which I think it's a really cool song. I really loved working on that song, because it sounds like Moonspell in a strange way, but it sounds really different at the same time. And I think that it really embodies the stretch that we have, the boundaries that are very big and very large on the whole of Hermitage.
So you recorded for the first time in England with the guy. It's um, a guy from South America, but he
Jaime
lived,
Gomez Arellano, yeah.
yeah, who has worked with Paradise Lost,
Yeah.
and yeah. So how was it with the COVID situation? And next, was it hard to do the voices?
Well, the album was we started writing it right after 1755, so it was already in 2017. And then we entertained the thought of getting back to work with Hans Bogren, that did such an amazing job with the Extinct, or to Madsen. But we kind of, a friend of us tipped us on Jaime, and I had some albums by him, like Ghost, Ex Vexel, some other stuff that he did over. And I really liked it, and I was very intrigued about his sound, because he was not your typical metal producer. And we found out that by ourselves, he had this kind of classic rock, progressive, psychedelic, dark psychedelic feeling into him. And when I listened to Obsidian, I really loved it. I loved the album, and I loved the sound. It's spectacular. It sounded so alive, and it sounded so real. It sounded like a band playing in my room. So I said, well, we want this from Moonspell. So we called him up. Yeah, he was born in Cali, in Colombia. And he came to the UK, and he made his business there and his reputation over there. But so it seems like he was a big, huge Moonspell fan since Under the Moonspell and Wolf Art days. and it was quite hard, because sometimes Portugal was in the blacklist of the UK travel ban. Sometimes Portugal was not in the blacklist. So not to disrespect any rules, we never were all together, the Moonspell together. When I went there, it was just me, Pedro, Ricardo, and Jaime.
Hmm.
And besides all the confusion, we took this window of opportunity, and I think it was the best year, the best thing that happened to us in 2020. Really, it was such a privilege. We were so lucky, and we enjoyed the experience to the full. When it comes to record the vocals, well, I used a different vocal technique and a vocal approach. I used a softer, let's call it this way, more in tune vocal approach, not in every song. I tried to serve the band. I think the band needed not another vocalist, hopefully, but another kind of voices made by me, with the lyrics more atmospheric, more intimate. So yeah, it wasn't, I would say, difficult to record the vocals. We worked a lot on the vocals, me, Pedro, and Ricardo. We all the three. I'm obviously doing the lead vocals, but Ricardo is very present on this album,
Yeah.
and so is Pedro. So it's more rich. It has to do also with the progressive side of the music, all the vocal arrangements like on Pink Floyd, and Beatles, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and other bands that I always loved vocal band. I love this composer called Arvo Pratt, and he did, for instance, the soundtrack of Wise White Shut for Stanley Kubrick, and it's amazing, and it has vocal concerts. Yeah, and I got a vocal coach called Paulo Ramos, a singer here in Portugal. He's an amazing singer. He's the singer of Led On. Led On, it's a Led Zeppelin tribute band, and he's an amazing vocal coach. And yeah, I had a lot of vocal coaching, vocal lessons. Now I have to do it again because there's some, demanding stuff. But yeah, whenever we feel like, whenever we have to set up for the tour, for sure, we're going to work hard. And I think that the vocals are something a bit different on this album, which is good because, everything changes and I cannot be the guy that will stay the same, So yeah, I try to adapt and live up to the task that was to sing on Hermitage.
And this is not really the question from Diana, but of course you have changed so much from the previous very first albums, and of course the heavier metal side of Moonspell has quite maybe disappeared, or it's there because there are screamings and but yeah, it's a different approach, and sometimes it's quite hard for fans, sometimes fans, they want to make the same album forever, because sometimes we live in the past, and but like you did, for the previous album, it was also a really different album, written in Portuguese, and the atmosphere was also different. And each when you go to the discography, it's always a different album, always a different chapter.
Yeah, actually, I answered that question so many times, but I never really answered it properly because I don't know how to answer to that question. Sometimes I think that what we really miss were the times that we were younger, that we had more freedom, that we had a different experience. And albums such as Wolf Art and Irreligious, for instance, are the soundtracks of probably better moments in our life. And that hasn't to do really with the bands. I think that, for instance, to quote a band I really love much more now than when they were a black metal band, Ulver. I think they were a really good black metal band, but I think nowadays they are an amazing band. I really like to put up Catatonia Dance of December Souls, but I love their last album. So this doesn't have to be a fight. When people want to listen to Wolf Art and Irreligious, fortunately, they are everywhere to be listened, hopefully legally and not illegally. But we were never the kind of band. I think that was imprinted already in our DNA that we were going to change. And then the concept of heavy is very debatable. For instance, I think some bands that are really fast and really into power metal, I feel they are very light. I don't see any really power coming from there. Sometimes it sounds like really small people just, shouting, So yeah, I think there should be a room for everything. Obviously, people might or not respect our decisions, but we never fooled anyone. We always, if you look to our music, taking risks or not taking risks, it's not up to our decision. Maybe these people that say that are really imagining or putting themselves in our shoes. That is, well, I had wolf art. Now why I'm going to do butterfly effect? I'm not stupid. I don't want to piss off people. I don't want to lose my money and my position. But for us, the game doesn't work like this. We just get carried away. Like we got carried away doing Hermitage, we got carried away doing 1755, and probably we are not as happy with our music as some of our fans are with the old music. I think there's insatisfaction is a big engine for Moonspell. Maybe we are not smart or proud enough of our so-called legacy in order to repeat it. Some people say that's the most authentic. I think the most authentic is to follow your gut feeling. That's
Yeah.
what we do, And for being in Moonspell, I never lied to people. It's a no strings attached experience. I think we have a sound, and we are exploring within that sound. Sometimes we might be closer to home. Sometimes we might be further from home. So, I mean, I have nothing to say to those fans than to thank them to listen to anything about Moonspell. If they hate us now, well, there's so many other bands. There's even a band now called Wolfart. So probably they can listen to them. They're a good band, and I know them for many years. So yeah, that's not really an answer we can give. There will be the eternal debate about metal. I think in the end of the day, we're all very, very melancholic people that we miss our past and we miss our music. But that doesn't stop bands from making music. And sometimes people miss out. They are so embedded in the past that they miss out what's new about it. As a musician and as a music fan, I never do that. I always keep attention and an eye to what's new. And that's why I discover some of my newly favorite bands like Our Survival Depends on Us, Crippled Black Phoenix, etc. And they strike me as very modern appreciation of metal and post metal. But yeah, I think music, it's not something that you can stop with a remote control
Yeah.
and turn it back. That's TV, not music.
Yeah. Question from Shiki. When you because I like also this album, The Butterfly Effect. I interview at that time.
Yeah.
You in Paris in a small hotel,
All
uh,
right.
and I like very much this album, and it's quite industrial album. And I saw you maybe something like 6 or 7 times on live, but yeah, few songs from The Butterfly Effect. I like this mood of this album. Will you play live soon? The if you can, of course.
I
Go
hope
back
so.
go back to the Butterfly Effect songs.
Yeah, actually, on the last shows, we played Soul Sick, the title track, Butterfly Effect,
Yeah.
and also Can't Be. And we've been playing, I mean, we haven't played many shows, but one of the shows we did was streamed. And on the Christmas Eve, we made it available to all the fans on our official Moonspell YouTube channel. So you can go there and you can see it, um, everything is professionally recorded, etc. Yeah, I think when we play live, good question. Not only because of the uncertainty that we're going to play live or not. I hope so. We need to. Everybody needs. But actually, the plan is to pick up some songs of Hermitage, obviously, but also to go to some forgotten jewels of Moonspell, so to speak, like The Antidote and Butterfly Effect, and also songs like Shadow Sun from Night Eternal, which I think is an amazing song that we'll never play live. Because it's also time to change a little bit what we've been playing as our repertoire. I think it's a good chance to I think some people will be happy that we don't play, for instance, Vampiria on the next tour. Some people will be mad, but we have to decide.
Yeah.
And what we want to offer, it's a visual and sound-wise, like cool show. So anything can happen with the repertoire, given the time that we are going to play. But yeah, we've been actually, curiously, we've been playing at least 3 songs from the Butterfly Effect in many of the shows we did. Also, thanks to the re-release that went down so well.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you have the time, because I got also another interview after you. I think you too, but you have something like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay. So of course there's a gap between religious. It seems that there is a gap in the topics of religious and Hermitage or Hermitage. Uh,
Hermitage.
Hermitage. The common point is, of course, the religion, and but is it? It's not really the same point of view, I think.
No, I think that has evolved. I mean, it evolved very fast into Moonspell. We were never an extreme anti-Christian band, like, for instance, some black metal bands like Behemoth, for instance. I grew up as a Catholic, and then I went to study philosophy, and I kind of felt more the nuance about things. I mean, first, I believe there is no God but man. Aleister Crowley said it. He also said a lot of bullshit, but he got it right, and that's not magic or occultism. It's anthropology. There is no other way around it. That all the story of any God, not just the Christian or the Jewish God, that is probably the closest God to our culture and our imagination, is the history of man. So when I speak about religion in a critical form, or even in philosophical and why not theological form, I'm speaking about a story that I'm convinced that was written by men, and men have their agendas. But also, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to say these enormities online, like, kill God. And I'm a quite different person when it comes to that. And I really find the sacro, profane inspiration of religion, and especially Catholicism, very inspiring for me. And since I studied philosophers like Nietzsche, Feuerbach, why do I want to read Anton LaVey or Aleister Crowley? I mean, it's just like you found out this amazing piano player, and you're listening to your neighbor, playing, destroying the piano. There's quality also in the appreciation of religion, and I only read quality when it comes to theological and texts and critic or praising of the religion. So history of religion, especially of Catholicism, it's also the history of Europe, and we can go against it, but we won't change it. Obviously, I understand that in Poland, what's happening right now, especially by the legacy of John Paul II, which was a very, very harmful person, and a very harmful pope to the society. I understand that nowadays there's a dangerous connection between religion and state, and that cannot happen. But here in Portugal, things are a little bit milder, I have to say. So yeah, I think that Common Prayers is just a song about forbidden love. There's songs about forbidden love as well in religious, and also about the fact that male hermits were the chosen ones. You know, they heard the calling, but female nuns or anchoresses, they were forced into the covenants by their fathers, the nobleman that couldn't marry them. You know, and they were stuck in a covenant in a cell for years. They were abused. No, there's a lot to, and you Hermitage is also an invitation for people to reflect and to not take for granted everything you read online.
Okay. Question about your new drummer, because he has a different style, really different from Gaspar for Miguel, and so maybe a question if you would like to answer the new style, and maybe if you can answer why your previous drummer left the band.
Well, I would love to answer why Mike really left the band, but unfortunately, or fortunately, because it was his choice to have the other Moonspell remaining members sign a confidentiality deal, so we cannot really speak about, you know. But obviously, what I can say from my personal side, it's three things. Obviously, Moonspell and Mike were unable to solve our problems, which is always sad because we've been together for so many years. Obviously, the problems didn't start from one day to the other. I think people are smart enough to understand that without me being indiscreet. Also, the whole situation of Mike kind of broke my heart because we were really good friends, even more than that. And but I think it came to a crossroad where we wanted to proceed or to give up, and we decided to proceed. And I think the fact of completing the new album was definitely very important for the continuation of the band altogether. So I just wish Mike that still has, you know, his legacy written in Moonspell with the amazing albums he recorded, that he comes back to music and that he can also tap into the good energy that the fans keep sending him. But you know, sometimes things just happen and we have no control over those. And I think that Moonspell is actually a band that is quite solid when it comes to lineup. We had very few lineup changes, and they were all very dramatic. So to speak, I wasn't at first involved in picking up Hugo, and I have to say, he's not my relative. Ribeiro is a very common name in Portugal, so it has nothing to do with my family. And I left the decision more to Pedro, because Pedro and Ricardo, they handle more the music in Moonspell than what I do, and they needed the right partner, you know, in order also to understand their ideas and to play them through. So I was like everybody else, I was waiting and wait to see about Hugo. And the first time I met him, I knew. I understood exactly that he had an amazing energy. He was a very humble, very well brought together, very enthusiastic person. And when he sat down to play, you know, the Moment of Truth with Moonspell, and we played Night Eternal, we played Mephisto, we played Opium, and he knew all the songs by heart. And also, he brought something more alive, I have to say, into them. At least, I don't know if it's a suggestion because he's a new guy. And also, he did an amazing job for Hermitage. I think it's very distinctive, his style, and it really fits. I think, actually, from such a tragic situation, we ended up being lucky with finding Hugo at such short notice, and a person that already gave a lot to Moonspell in a very a typical year. You know,
Mm.
we still don't have that bond because we didn't went on the road. You know, otherwise I think I could even speak even better praise to Hugo. But I think he did a great job, and probably it wasn't easy. But I think Hugo was just himself, and I think that's it has a lot to offer to Moonspell. Right now, we already did, but in the future, definitely, I think we found a really good drummer in person.
You wrote the songs with Ricardo, the guy who wrote your biography, and so in few notes, when you take the beautiful artwork, um, people leaving the the streets, leaving the towns, leaving in Paris, especially because I know the market. This is the first time in centuries that people are quitting Paris. The people want to have a garden now. People want to have maybe a better life in these COVID days. It they open maybe our eyes, and I think a lot of people want to not maybe to live as hermits, but I got friends, that are maybe more to near from nature.
Well, yeah, I think even the stranger, or whatever, it's not strange. This is probably can be nature claiming it back, you know. And a lot of people say that we are the virus. And yes, we have been the virus. Nowadays, we have a virus, that kind of complicates very much our life because deny it or not, we all been affected by the COVID situation. Some of us had the misfortune of being sick or dying or having really bad respiratory problems. Others have been affected on their mental health. Others have been affected in their financial things. So I think this is quite something that we should try to solve as a community. And obviously, people these days they need a break, And sometimes we are so caught up in the speed of the city, working, going home, going out, that we didn't have the time. It took like a plague to stop us in our place and to find that we are humble and to find that besides all the technology and all the money we throw into things, we have built not a strong society, just strong for few, but weak for the majority. And we are the majority. Make no mistake about it. I have to say, because Ricardo was, we have also the confusion with the names. We have two Ricardo Amorins.
Yeah.
One is writing here is the biographer of Moonspell, and the biography of Moonspell will eventually come out in French, maybe
Really?
this year, yeah, or 2022. It was a project we had for 220, but like many projects, we couldn't complete it. And Ricardo Amorim, the other is the guitar player. When it comes to the cover artwork, that was made by Artur Berzinch. He's a Latvian artist. He works with bands such as Cradle of Filth. I think he did an amazing job because there's poetry and even philosophy on this cover. Because I talked with him. I'm not the kind of guy that says, okay, you paint this doll here and then you put the sky. No, I'm not the artist. I'm the guy that wrote the lyrics and has the concept. And for sure, I'm going to speak about chiaroscuro, about Caravaggio, about Renaissance, about the Flemish masters, but I'm not going to tell him what to do. Yeah, and when you see here, there's three situations happening, which is a hermit walking on the water, which in literature we call the suspension of belief. You cannot walk over water, not even Jesus. I'm sorry to tell you, boys and girls. But you can walk a tough way. That's what it means. The city is modern, even though Napalm Records wanted to be a medieval city because he said, "Oh, modern is not Moonspell." And I said, "Well, we won't go that. We won't go there. I won't even discuss it because, yeah, we're living the modern ways." And I think the most remarkable thing is that the Hermit is going somewhere, but we don't know where. We don't know
Mm.
if it's going, to the Hermitage. I don't know if it's going to the other city. I see past, present, and future on this cover. I think probably it's the most beautiful cover ever from Moonspell. We have really cool cover artwork, I think, here and there, Night Eternal, Wolf Art, but this is just really meaningful.
Yeah. Silly question. What's your favorite recipe for bacalhau?
I think that's the best question, really. Um, so
Sorry.
I say obrigado for that question.
Obrigado. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, well, lots, but I have to say, in 2021, I haven't eaten meat yet. I'm still eating fish. I don't know why it's not political still, but I just feel good about it. And also, I stopped smoking, which was more than 1 year ago. So I'm taking care of myself. But it's going to be, I think, quitting smoking, drinking, etc. It's easy when compared to quitting bacalhau,
Yeah.
codfish. And since March 2020, every Sunday I make what we call bacalhau com todos, which is the most common recipe, which we boil um, the bacalhau, the chickpeas, the potato, and drown it in olive oil, and it's just
Wonderful.
beautiful. Yeah, it's just beautiful with red wine. It's a typical Portuguese Sunday lunch. We love it here. I
Yeah.
think our true god is bacalhau here in Portugal.
We got several Portuguese restaurants in France, and I miss them so much because Portuguese food is so good. So next time we hope to see you live, of course, again and again and again. And of course, this empty venue in your last video clip of all of nothing. It's quite strange atmosphere, and we hope to see you live. I think you got a confirmed show in Portugal, and maybe we can see you also in a festival in Croatia this summer.
Well, I hope so. I would love to say that everything is solid and confirmed, but yeah, we have to take it day by day. So we are kind of waiting and seeing, because there's a lot of problems that we still have to solve. Because right now, imagine if France was open for the shows, we couldn't get in, because we're from Portugal, and Portugal is not in a condition that that people can travel. Also, I don't know when we are going to get the vaccine, so that's going to take a while for healthy people. We have priorities, so we probably will have a show in the 1st of May in Portugal. I hope that's confirmed, but we still don't know. We still are waiting for the criteria of unlocking down Portugal, which will take a while, because there's all this clientele, and it's very, very confusing, very painful process, because that's taken in between doors. And I just go out in the street and buy something, and I see people are tired and broke, and a lot of things will be miserable after we get back to the so-called normal. So I keep my hopes high to do something in the second semester of 2021, and probably to go back more heavily on the road of 2022. But I'm not the kind of guy that thinks there is going to be this post-war atmosphere and everybody will be joining orgies of metal and absinthe and whatever, whatever rocks your world. I think there was going to be a lot of competition. So it's our job right now to start thinking about the shows, what we're going to do, what songs we're going to play. But up to this first semester, I think we'll probably have some Portuguese shows, some Portugal festivals that we are confirmed. We'll start from there, and we're also being releasing a secret show soon, maybe today. That's going to be really special,
Cool.
and also we are trying to close a show. I mean, we wanted to take this album to the Lisbon Coliseum that holds 3,000, and that was our plan for the release show of this album. But I'm not going to cry over it. We're going to play it in a smaller show, and I think before May, I think in the month of May, we're going to do another live stream with a small crowd here in Portugal. We call it the COVID crowd, and but they're one of the best crowds because it's a really act of love to
Mm.
see any metal band, soft or hard, it doesn't matter, sitting down, wearing a mask. Everybody that came to our shows, the 4 shows we did in Portugal in 2020, they are all heroes, in my opinion. They have my full respect, and my full gratitude because it wasn't easy, and they really love the music. One thing is to talk out of the couch. Oh, I need shows. One thing is go to the shows with the COVID happening, and taking risks. Even though the culture was pretty safe, I think it's safer to go to a show in Portugal than to go shopping for groceries. So yeah, I do hope that we come back to the live field as soon as possible. We have a lot of ideas in our mind, but so far it's baby steps. Yeah, and we hope that step by step we can get back on stage. We played 4 shows in 2020. It was really, for a band such as Moonspell, really like bad. We play 4 shows normally in 4 days on one tour, but on the other side, it was everything we got. So we really enjoyed it. Every second of it.
Okay, we're going to finish because there's a new. We can we can speak forever. It's
It's true. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
But
Yeah.
we had also other interviews. So thank you again, Fernando. It was maybe our 6th interview with Moonspell, and it's always the same. It's yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Santé, and keep yourself sane and be safe. And thanks to everyone that has posed the question.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, I think it was really cool. It went down really well. So yeah, I mean, my last words is just the album is out. Just go and listen to it
Today. It's out
Yeah,
today.
today, now, yeah, as we speak. Yeah,
Go buy it, and muito obrigado,
de nada.
and boa noite.
Boa noite. Ciao.
Bye. Thank you
Bye.
guys, and like and share this interview on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you, and Twitter. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Obrigado.